Hi, you guys. I just wanted to give you some general advice about the review that you're writing on Between the World and Me because I assume you've never written a book review before. So, let's see. First of all, I thought I would remind you that Coates's book is a memoir. And because it's a memoir, it's inherently biased, right? The purpose of a memoir is to present um, a particular person's perspective in order the purpose of a memoir is so that we can better understand a person with a particular set of experiences. So there are often memoirs written about people's experiences of a war or some kind of major historical event. People might write a memoir about a particular type of job that they had or a particular portion of their life. And so Coates's purpose is to explain to us as best he possibly can what it has been like to be a black man in the United States during the period of time that he's been alive. And so Coates lived through the sort of crack and cocaine epidemics in inner city Baltimore in the 80s and 90s. He grew up during sort of the flowering of the of hip hop, right? And so he's talking about all those things. He's also grown up, or he also is now an adult experiencing sort of the Black Lives Matter movement that we are all experiencing now. So that's another thing that he provides sort of commentary and a perspective on, right? And so, yeah, it's not, uh, if you're going to argue that he is overly biased or overly negative or something along those lines, you will need to at least acknowledge that bias to a certain extent is appropriate in a memoir. Okay? And I think it's possible to critique the worldview that he presents. You know, Williams does that. Williams, in his review, is he's essentially saying that Coates presents black people in a way that makes it seem like they have no agency, they have no control over anything, and they're just purely victims. I could actually make an argument that contradicts what Williams is saying based on my reading of the book. But Williams is an example of someone who has a problem with the overall worldview that Coates presents to us. Okay. You can also pick a particular theme that Coates covers. So a lot of my students are intrigued by the concept of the dream. I don't expect you to fully understand what he means by it, so don't be intimidated if you're like, but I don't really know what he means. You can still respond to it and talk about how it was valuable for you or it was confusing for you or whatever. I responded pretty strongly to his theme of, the people who think they are white, because as a white person, I'd never really thought about it that way, that whiteness is, I know that race is socially constructed, that it's been created by societies in order to categorize people, but I never really, thought about myself that way, that I just believe that I'm white. Whiteness is actually something that doesn't quite exist. That idea intrigues me, right? So that might be something that I respond to. Some students are interested in Coates's critiques of the school system and his ideas about self-educating and seeking knowledge for yourself and trying to find answers to tough questions for yourself. So those are all themes that you could potentially address in your review. And then in the review, you can speak personally. You can use the personal I. You can say, my response is, or that made me think of, you can use I and me and my, okay? You don't want to overuse that, but you want to take a formal tone, and you can look at the sample reviews as examples of the language and the tone that's appropriate for reviews. But I just wanted to make that clear. And then also you are required to respond to at least two other reviews of the book. So you could choose one of the three that we read for class. So we have Holiday, Alexander, and Williams. Okay, and or you could select another one. I provided links to other reviews in the prompt for this essay. And so you can agree with those people in part. You know, you can say, I agree with them on this, but I disagree with them on that. You can kind of take one of their ideas and like make it your own, like add on to a critique that they have of Coates. You can disagree with them and argue with them. And then your overall review of the book could be partially positive, partially negative, right? Or it could be entirely negative, entirely positive. Okay, so you can mix those things up. All right. So I will be giving you comments on your outline, so you'll get a little bit further feedback and more specific feedback from that. But I hope these general ideas are helpful.